Hashi Squelalo, welcome. Thank you everybody for joining in. New Life Learners, making all things new, nonprofit. Lineage First Foundation, coming to you from Chicago and hopefully a city near you. Thank you for joining Freedman Street. Good morning, family. How you doing? This is Antonio Thomas once again. Lineage First Foundation, New Life Learners. Check it out, lineagefirstfoundation.com, and look down, look up, look all around for who are your people, what lineage you are part of, and what you want to do to contribute to your community. So we all need to get active right now. The time is now. You got a lot of things that's coming out. A lot of things is being revealed. Trump just opened the books to the secrets of the Departments of Justice. He's been putting a lot of executive orders, seeing where all this money has been going back and forth. That they've been yelling, we don't have no money for reparations, no money for us to fix or correct the wrongs that they that they implemented on us. You know, we are the only group that's in America that had policies put into effect to keep us down. Then they come back and play like they're giving us policies to help us, but they really create policies for themselves and using our plight and what we have been through in our harms for their financial and political gains. You know, and all that stuff is stopping now. So I want y'all to take a look at this video right here. Sit down and listen to what the lady says about what we used to have. And I want you to ponder and think about how we get in the situation that we're in. What is the reason why they have us tied to them when it comes to being in a society or a community that's interwoven with them, while they are leading inside the community, making the laws, the policies, and the structures in which you live, in which they have your children under, especially when it comes to education, policing, medical. All this is from a perspective of an individual that had you in the system that they was living in all their life that's really foreign to you. So you really have to change the way you are to be inside the system. So integration will never be good for us in that manner. The society that's ran or the structure that we put forth should be ran or conducted by us from our perspective and the way we live. And that was the reason why we bought into the Constitution. 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment was given to us so we could utilize the Constitution as a specific citizen and be protected as a specific group, because they knew that we would still be up under or come against the same mindsets for the individuals who we went to war with in the Civil War. But as in good fashion like they are, as wicked, selfish, satanic people, they killed Lincoln, and then they instantly went in, not even before he was inside the ground, went in destroying the policies for Reconstruction. You know, they took back 40 acres and a mule, everything that we're supposed to have that was supposed to be led or created by us to help us as a unique class of people. They swept that under the rug, and if they did give us an institution, they made sure that they was over it and they ran that shit into the dirt. And when we did try to separate and have our own towns, this is what they did. Check it out.
Over the past couple years, more Americans have become familiar with the story of the Tulsa Race Massacre, where a white mob burned a vibrant black community to the ground, which is crazy. Even crazier, dozens of other black towns have been erased off the American map, not by burning them down, but by hiding them underwater. This is Lake Lanier. It's a lake in Forsyth County, Georgia, where people go swimming and boating and fishing and do a bunch of other lakey things. But before it was Lake Lanier, it was a town called Oscarville, Georgia. Now, Oscarville was a thriving, predominantly black community with a church, a school, and dozens of homes, until the year 1912, when a very bad thing happened. Oh, two very bad things. In 1912, two black teenagers were accused of rape. They were tried, convicted, and sentenced to death in a single day. And after they were executed, a mob of white men terrorized, drove out, or killed all the black people in the surrounding area. And they did that until the entire black community of Oscarville disappeared. The county went from having over 1,000 black residents in 1912 to 0 in 1920. That story is so sad, it makes this story look like a comedy. After the black community had been run off, the white people of Forsyth County said, you know what we could use? A big old lake. So they made one, right where the town of Oscarville had just been. They flooded the area and literally covered up the entire town with water. This is what it looks like right now. But the town is still under there. The homes and churches and schools, they're still down there. And now people go boating on top of them. Compared to that, this is truly a rom-com. Now, you might be thinking, what a weird, isolated incident. But just like the rat who ate the pizza in the subway, this story is both crazy and common. Ever heard of Collegia, Alabama? It was once a thriving black community with a black college, the first black railroad, and literally hundreds of family homes. Today, it's Lake Martin. At least they had the decency to name it after a black person. And if you think this kind of thing only happened in the South, let me introduce you to a place called Central Park. It's named after that coffee shop on Friends. Central Park used to have a black community in it called York Hill. But the city of New York destroyed York Hill so that they could build the Central Park Reservoir. Because if there's one thing New York needs, it's another place for ducks to hang out. But if you come here, don't try and feed those ducks. They are very aggressive. Mess around and lose a finger. Now, when the residents of York Hill were kicked out of their homes, they fled to another black community nearby called Seneca Village. And then a few years later, New York destroyed Seneca Village too, so that they could build Central Park on top of it. The craziest part of this story is that I work a few blocks away from a place where the government disappeared 2 black communities. And until recently, I didn't know about any of it. You know why? Because it worked. They tried to erase black communities and they came way too close. But now there are people doing the research. So we are finally learning about places like Henry and McKee Islands, which is now located under Lake Guntersville in Alabama, and Vanport, Oregon, which is now located under Delta Park. And all of these towns, which are currently literally underwater. Hey, wait, hold on. What was that last one? Old Neversink. That's a real place. Well, if we've learned one thing today, it's never assume something is unsinkable.
Now, with knowing all this, with seeing everything that went on, this is the case of reparations. And this is after 1865. We're not just talking about the atrocities of slavery, which that is a whole different point that we can get reparations for. So reparations is not just a linear ask. It's the ask for all the wrongs, injustices, harms that we endured as a people, codified in the whole system that they had that was supported by the United States government. Because that's how it was sustained itself. Not only did they sanction people, their citizens, to be terrorized, they also financed it and divested the individuals that they should have been protecting, which is us. They already came out with the ruling on affirmative action. Can't do anything race-based. So it enacts what we already have in place, which is the 1866 Civil Rights Bill and the 14th Amendment, who details what citizens are and who are to be looked at as a particular citizens, and what they should have and what they need and what are their protections. It's all written in there. And it says freemen Americans, American freedmen, Negro freedmen, black freedmen, all that's in there. But at the end of the day, it says free. And it doesn't mean just the individual is free from that system of slavery. Because you have families and people, all y'all together as one group, are freemen. Because you are liable, no matter at that time you was free or not, these people will make a situation to put you into slavery. You had all these stories and instances when people had their papers. People went to different states, came up missing. People, whole groups was hid from society and was still enslaved after slavery. Times when he had to call the cavalry, the Freedmen's Bureau, to come and issue justice or take back things that they were still trying to take from our people. All that stuff was still going on. This is why they destroyed the certain things that we was getting that was protecting or supporting us. So we have to understand that as a citizen, we got the right to have our own communities. We got the right to have those communities funded by the government in which we pay taxes that shouldn't have to go to everybody else. I don't care who you are, if the Jews, the Native Americans, immigrants, or whatever. Everybody come here talking about they shouldn't pay taxes or reparations, but we've been paying it since we came out of slavery for y'all to come here and get the benefits that y'all got. How ignorant, arrogant, and disrespectful that is. So it's time for us to get our stuff together, use the policies and the papers and the forms and the Constitution on which they have put us into law, enact that to get our funds, because they finding all these funds that they sent overseas. Since it's coming back here, we need that. We need that up out here right now. All right? So remember what harms they did, what was done to our communities that we should have been still had, what we came out of, the promises that they have been that they broke, that they have been breaking, that they are breaking now, and what we need as a collective people. So do your genealogy, get with your people in your community, close your community, gatekeep, and let's get this cracking. Peace.